One of the things that I get asked a lot since our family has moved to Namibia is, what does it take to move overseas? Moving overseas is a big deal, but it is very fun and very exciting, and it is a growth opportunity that you will never regret. Namibia has a 6 month digital nomad visa, and that is a really great entry for anybody that's interested but wants to dip their toe in and not change anything. If you have a job that allows you to do that, it's a great way to come and see. Just rent somewhere here, get to, start building relationships. There's lots of networking groups to get involved with. People are really friendly and open and willing to let you in. That digital nomad visa, it takes a little time to fill out all the paperwork and get it going, but it's through the Namibian Investment Promotion Development Board, NIPDB. That's who approved our visa too. Our visa is I'll call it an investor visa, but basically they have different types of qualifications that they look for, and the investment board is the one that's been approving everyone that I know here from the states that is here. They had to go through the investment board in order to get their approval to be able to be here. And so that digital nomad visa is a really great opener. If you don't have a job and you are an entrepreneur, you can also apply for a visa to work. It would be an employment visa. You would have to do something like open up a branch of your company here, a new business entity, and let them know that you're going to bring some of your business to Namibia. And that's a great way to start because you don't have to know the Namibian market yet. If you have business, for example, if you're an online service based professional, graphic designers, web designers, marketers, publicists, any of that kind of thing, and you can just put some of your business into your Namibian CC. They call it a CC instead of a LLC. Um, you can potentially qualify for a visa to be able to come, and they want to know things like, are you, financially stable? They want bank statements to know that you have the income you claim to have. They want to understand what's your educational background. They want to see your CV, your resume. They want to know what skills you're going to bring and if your work is going to create jobs. And when you can establish yourself in that way and let them know that, they are interested in having us here because they really want to bring that, um, new wealth opportunities to the country. So starting a new business here is a perfect way. And that's the way that we went. We bought a house here first. We did not have any sort of residency. So we owned what they call a holiday home here. And then we went to establish our residency. And we did so by first starting a CC, which is like an LLC in the States. And then we took that and applied for residency employment visa to be able to stay here and work for that business. And we are now established with our visa, which allows us to, we can only work for the business that we applied with, which is the company that we own. And so that pathway is the one we know intimately because it's what we did. Um, Other than that, there are other pathways. There are people who are retirees who are here. I only currently know European retirees that have gotten their visa to be a long-term resident here. But that's a pathway that they are happy with at the investment board. But you have to just establish with them that you are self-sufficient, you have the sufficient financial resources to be able to pay rent or own a home, and and sustain yourself. And then you have to show them that you have people back home that can take care of you if anything goes wrong as well. So those are kind of the pathways that are available to be able to do that. There's so much more to this story because, yes, you can get a house, you can get a visa. It is less expensive to live here, but there are a lot of considerations for your life and what does it mean? How do things look different? I feel that this is a place where things work very different than at home. And part of the process of how do you go move overseas is actually getting yourself mentally prepared for not being in the States, not having things look the way you're used to, knowing that priorities in different places are different, city design in different places is different, cultures are different, the way people talk to each other, the languages people speak is all different. People here in Namibia speak English almost everywhere we go. We have not had an issue communicating with the people we need to communicate with on a daily basis. We found it very easy to travel with children. We have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. It's very easy to go places with them. People are very accepting and warm and welcoming to children. And that has been a joy. There's lots of places where we can go and eat and the kids can play in the playscape. And so it's been very easy there. And I think another thing I'll share is just to understand that while it's cheaper to live overseas, Namibia is not the cheapest place overseas. And it's, while it, like I said, it's cheaper, people do waste money still. You can still drain your money. So the mindset should also be to make sure that you have sufficient savings to make sure that you're in a good place so that when you do something like this, you are stable no matter what. And you have something to pull from. So, in essence, the most important things to think about are with moving overseas and what does it take to move overseas is really about your particular situation, picking a country that fits your circumstances, picking a country that has the right entry requirements, the right types of visas is really important. There are so many different requirements, different types of countries, different established customs and ways. So that's the most important thing. With Namibia itself, the most important thing is really just understanding those basics. And I really think that the most, if you can do so, if you can come out here ahead of time and establish relationships, actually having Namibian connections and relationships is the key. Because in the end, you can have people on the ground that can speak for you. You can have connections. For example, we now are 50% owners with a business here. So in the future, we have an established connection that gives us an additional qualification for different types of visas that are around. And then the other thing to really consider with what does it take to move overseas is making sure you have some savings or you have and or an established income that you know you're going to continue to get. So whether it's investments, whether you have some rentals, um, and those can be things that you have here, but you just need to have them established because those things will help you to know that you won't run out of money. We have seen someone for a moment run out of money because the investments that they chose, they had a kind of a, they had invested in an income property and there was a renter already in there paying a good rent. But the process of closing on it took them 6 months. So their money was being held. I think it was equivalent of like 60,000 US dollars was held up in this apartment situation. And then in the middle of that 6 months, they couldn't use that money to invest in anything else. They couldn't use it for their life. They weren't getting the income from the property, which was going to be enough to really help them with their life. And so it became a stressful moment for them where they were a little bit poor for a bit. They've overcome that. They found other ways to make income here. But had that been established ahead of time, now they realize, okay, we didn't know it was going to take 6 months. And so we would have maybe made a different choice. So having those things, even if they are investments that you're making here to have income, having those things established before you permanently move is really helpful. Or having that savings is really helpful to make sure that you can sustain yourself because it is definitely uncomfortable. I suspect, from watching the situation, and they told their story, their testimony, several times, and I've heard them say it several times to different people because it was a big deal for them. that was a big learning lesson to be established beforehand, or to understand that if you're making moves with your money, it can get locked up, something can happen that you don't understand, and you're not getting that income. If you needed that income, um, that can put you in a tough situation. And so, income, understanding visa requirements, and knowing how you're going to navigate lifestyle in the chosen country are the first things I would tell you are important in considering a move overseas.